Welcome to Little Bobbins Knits. My name is Danny and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Little Bobbins. And I'm so pleased you're here. Thank you for visiting me today. It's been about 8 months since my last video and I don't know where the time has gone. I've been really missing you and missing, well, creativity in general actually. I've been in a little bit of a creative slump and it's something that I'd really like to try and get out of. So this video is my first sort of attempt to try and push myself out of this little creative block that I'm having right now. We have 2 new additions to the house. This is one. Oh, this is Love. And he is adorable and cute, aren't you? And now if you've been before, you will know that we already have a cat called Teddy. He's in the garden sunbathing and being his aloof self. And if you've watched before, you'll know that Teddy is honestly criminally aloof, quite honestly. So it's been quite a lovely experience having these 2 cats who just love our company. Hello baby. They are the friendliest, sweetest little cats, and we've been so used to Teddy not even wanting to share a room with us. It's just been lovely. So yeah, this is Love, and behind me is Snufkin, and he'll come and say hello soon, I'm sure. He's also just such a friendly little thing. They are such lovely cats. We are absolutely thrilled to have them. Named by my son, in case you didn't guess. But yeah, they're lovely. So yeah, my creativity is just in a little bit of a wane at the moment. I've been doing a few little bits and bobs, like I've been to a few jewellery classes, hence the rings, which I'll show you in a while, and they have been a lot of fun, but it's not like knitting or crochet where I just want to do it all the time. I go to a class and I create these things, which is lovely and really nice to have that sort of time, like dedicated time to create, and an experience of creating something different and learning a new skill. That's all been so much fun. But I miss the comfort of knitting and crochet because it's just not been it's just not been second nature just lately. Like I sit down and I'm tired, or I can't sit down. It hasn't been something I've been grabbing for, so I'd really like to change that because I miss it a lot. When I say knitting I think is my top fave, but I mean it's sort of interchangeably with crochet. So if I say missing knitting, I mean sort of fibre work or yarn work, because they both bring me a lot of comfort. I have found in the past that when I've had creative blocks, the thing that's brought me back has actually been crochet rather than knitting. So today, in preparation for making this video and sort of having my goal as getting back some of my sort of creative instinct, creative urges, where I'm so excited to work on a project. We went to a little shop in town and these kittens, as wonderful and beautiful as they are, have destroyed some of my cushions, haven't you? So I need to make a couple more, and I thought, I can't think of exactly what I want these cushions to look like, so I thought I would just do granny square ones, just a big granny square. because I like the motion and I like being able to use the colours, and it just feels comforting and it feels nice to do. So I went and got some yarn this morning and I got a couple of cushion pads, and that is my plan, so I will show you the colours that I got. If you've watched before, you may be wondering where Bobbin is, and he's just downstairs. He's absolutely fine. He's still obviously getting on a bit, but he's just doing his own thing, having a nap downstairs. Yeah. Bobbin is still as wonderful as ever. Right, so let's see what I got today. Do you want to have a look at what I got today? Yeah? Okay, so I went to this shop in town. It's really nice actually. It's got all sorts of little bits and bobs. I asked the person at the till how to pronounce it, and she said Surstream Green, but she said that wasn't the exact pronunciation. So I'd be really interested if you knew how to pronounce this, if you could let me know. So, a little bit of noise. Whoa, look at those. Okay, so my thoughts with this cushion were playful, cosy and whimsical, and mostly cosy. So cosy is the key theme here, and I wanted it to be sort of quite bright, mismatchy. That is a very, very bright colour, but I think it's showing up brighter on the camera. My living room is sort of lots of golds and mustardy sort of tones, and then I've got lots of patchwork quilts around, so there's, apart from those sort of main like big things like the sofa and the curtain are all sort of shades of the sort of burnt orange, mustardy, goldy sort of colour, and then the floor is wood. There's a lot of colours in there, so I don't think anything would look out of place or jarring. So I'll show you the colours that I've gone with. I had a look through my stash this morning at all the different cottons that I've got, and they just weren't quite right. They're all in this acorn. Which is so cute, but they're quite sort of soft muted colours, although I was thinking I might put a little bit of pale pink in there and sort of lilac, is that quite similar to what I've got, and greens, and I didn't want to go with this sort of pastel sort of vibe like that, so we took a trip and that way I got to choose sort of the exact colours I wanted rather than making do. I think making do is really good sometimes, but when you're sort of trying to get that creative inspiration back, I think changing things up and getting something new to you and maybe pairing that with something that you already know is really comforting seems to be a good strategy for me. So I got these colours. I think I got 9 altogether because I wanted a sort of a little bit of a scrappy sort of look. So I think I'll just do 1 round of each colour. And these are the ones that I got. Oh! No! That's gone all the way to the floor. It's going to be hunted. So I can't hold them all together apparently. I got this sort of, what do you call that? Sort of dusky rose. And then this sort of Wedgwood blue. These kittens do not respect yarn in the same way that Teddy does. He just stays away and is very, or maybe it's just that he's staying away from me, but he's never been particularly interested in yarn. These two are. Then this sort of, don't know how I describe that colour. It's sort of a, I just don't know. It's not as sort of yellow as a butter yellow. I think there's sort of a green undertone to it. And then this gold, nice green, sort of a sagey green. And I love this sort of bright coral raspberry. And then this burnt orange, a nice, nice sort of candy pink, and then just get the other one that fell down. It's nice sort of lilac-y lavender. So that's my plan. And I got a couple of cushion pads. These ones are just 42 by 42 centimeters, and they weren't the exact size I wanted. I wanted 48 by 48. This was literally all they had. So in this instance, I'm going to make that part work. I'm sure it'll be fine. I don't know why I got 48 in my head anyway, so let's see. So I think they'll look nice. They're sort of a bit scrappy, a bit of a vintagey vibe. I think it'll work. So yeah, my plan is just round and round crochet granny square until it's big enough to cover the cushion, and I think I'll probably do the same on both sides, or maybe I'll mix up the order on the other side, and either a little frill around the edge, or I might knit on an I-cord. I'm not sure yet. I think this suggests 3 mil, 2.5 to 3 mil crochet hook, and I think I'm going to try it with a 2 or a 2.5 because I want the holes to be really small. I think I used a 2mm crochet hook with my granny square blanket, and I think this is sort of the same weight. And I quite like that because you can't really, the holes aren't very noticeable in that blanket. So yeah, that's my plan, and I just thought I would try and document my experience of trying to beckon back my creativity and see if it works. Right, let me see if I can show you Snufkin. He's very camouflaged. Snufkin. They've got shaved patches on their arms, well, front legs, because they were neutered this week, so that's where the anaesthetic went in. They were very good and very brave. Weren't you, Snufkin? I'll show you him later. He's having a lovely nap now. Anyway, I'm so glad to be back talking to you, and I hope your creativity is flowing, and if not, maybe together in this video we can get it back. Right, I'll see you when I've started my cushion. It's a couple of weeks later now, it's the start of September, and I feel completely different to when I started this video. I was feeling very lost with creativity, really, and just having a bit of a block, and I feel like that has and is lifting, and I'm so relieved. Yeah, it's so nice, and I think part of that is the crochet that I started in the first part of this video. I've got Snufkin in here at the moment, as you can see. It might not be for long because he is in a just very cheeky mood. Yeah, he's just eating my toes at the moment. Not very helpful, and I think once the yarn comes out he's just going to be a maniac, so yeah, he might have to be put out of the room. So the cushion that I started, or was telling you about in the first half of the video, I have started it and it just did the trick. Crochet just really, it just does something. I think there's no pressure on it, and it's so simple and meditative and repetitive that I think it just sort of allows my brain to go to a different place than with knitting, and so I'm really pleased that it has done its job. And since then things are snowballing, and I'll tell you all about them. So I'll show you the cushion that I started. I don't know if it will work with our guest host, but let's try. He's just been in this basket, which is why it's a little bit of a mess. So this is the cushion so far, or the cover so far. It's lovely yarn to work with. It's a fingering weight. It's really nice. I used a 2.5mm hook in the end because I wanted the holes to be as small as possible, but I did try with a 2 and it was just too stiff. So this has still got a bit of give, so it will form nicely around the cushion pad. I'm really pleased with how the colours are coming out. I chose 9 colours, and I wanted to do a colour and then a sort of variation on the gold every other round. So I started with my favourite, which was that bright raspberry pink sort of colour, corally, this one, which seems to have lost its ball band. I wanted to start with that one, and then I used the gold, then the blue, and then this darker gold, and then the green, and then an even darker gold. And then I worked out that it wouldn't flow properly if I just repeated the sequence, because I also wanted to add in this colour. So what I've decided to do is alternate using this bright one and then the paler one in its place. So swapping those over every time I get to that point. No, not for you. And yeah, I think it's really nice. And I don't know how I will do the other ones. I think I might do them in the same order, but start with a different colour, so that I don't have to think and like devise a different order for them that will look aesthetically pleasing, but it will still be slightly different because it will start in with a different colour. So that's my intention so far. Hopefully that will work out. I think that might take me a while because obviously I'm making cushion covers, so I will need 4 of these blocks, and this is nowhere near the size, so I need to keep going for quite a while. I think I'll have enough yarn, but I really like how it's coming together. I've decided to use a technique that I used before, which means that you don't have to sew in loads of ends. So for this granny square, I'll have to sew in 2 ends, the one I started with and the one I finish with. There's a really good YouTube tutorial on it. I think the person who made it is called Made by Anita, but I'm not certain of that, so I'll put the link in the box below. But it's just a really lovely technique that means when I'm finished this, I don't, or I know some people do it as they go, which is something I can't manage, but when I finish this I wouldn't have to sew in loads of ends, and that would be really off-putting for me because sewing in ends is, I loathe it. So it just means that I can just get on with the bit that I enjoy, and I think that's part of why it's worked to sort of help get my creativity back, because I don't have to do the things that I don't like. I can just play with colour, do the nice repetitive motion of creating a granny square and enjoy the process, not have anything waiting for me at the end that I would dread. So it seems to work well, so I haven't noticed anything coming apart, and the person who made the video of the technique, I don't know if she invented it or what, but she says that she's been doing it for many years and hasn't had any bits come apart. So worth a try if, like me, you absolutely hate sewing in ends. So I'll continue with that, but I'm so thrilled that they seem to sort of break the spell and I'm back to enjoying creative things again, or yarn related creative things again. I did say that I was going to tell you about I've been making rings at, well, jewellery actually, at a jewellery workshop. I think I've been to 5 or 6 now, and so I made, except my wedding ring and engagement ring, I made all of these, which is why I have to wear them all, because I made them and I sort of look at them and think, whoa, you made that, that's amazing. Because they're so much fun to make, and you just, I don't think you would look at them and think that I'd made them. I certainly don't look at them and think, did I really make that? They're such fantastic workshops. So they're run by this woman called Fiona Dowling. She has a company called Jewellery Moves, and she sort of moves around the country as her husband is in the military, and so she has sort of devised this business where she can run pop-up jewellery workshops at whatever place she is currently living, and they are the most fantastic workshops. You leave there with such a sense of achievement, because you've just made something. For me, I just made something that I never thought I would be able to make. So on my first workshop we made, it was a sort of stacking rings workshop. I'll probably do some close-up videos. So we made like a plain ring and a smaller just thin band, similar to this, but I used a sort of, I think it was like a twisted wire, not wire, twisted metal, I don't know what you would call it, like strip. And then we also made this, which I can't actually remember the stone that I put in that. I'm going to do some close-up video because I don't think you'll be able to see it. But it was so fascinating, the process. So this started just as a flat piece of silver that we had to cut to size and then bend and then solder and sand to smooth off the edges, and then hammer to make it round again, and then hammer with a different hammer to give it that textured surface. And I wrote, you can stamp things inside, and so I stamped my son's name in there, and I really liked the opportunity to personalise it in that way because it's really special. And with this one you have the ring, I'm going to call it wire. I don't know if it's called wire, but you have that strip of wire that you cut to size and then solder and make round again, and then you have to make a bezel for your stone out of some bezel wire, which is nice and soft, and you have to set it on a flat piece, solder those together, and then you have to saw off around the bezel, and you have to be very, very careful that you don't saw into your bezel wire, because then you would have to start again and it would not be fun. And sawing those edges off is hard. It's really hard on your hands. It's not my favourite part, doing that. I also made some rings with sea glass, piece of sea glass. I've got one and I made one for Mum too. And oh, I made this, I really like this one as well, which is sort of it's very thick. Oh, it's slightly stuck. Very thick, and it's got sort of tiny little Swarovski crystals set in. That was really fun to do. And I made these spinner rings as well. So this one is, it has a piece of precious metal clay, a heart, that my jewellery teacher actually had made and let me put on the ring. So yeah, it spins around the ring. So much fun. Oh, and then this one. So which one had I made at the time? I think I'd made this one in the same class, and it comes as a straight flat piece of silver, so I have to cut it to size. And then with the piece that I'd cut off, I think I practiced stamping on it because I've stamped inside this one. Anything that's wide enough has some sort of reference to my son inside it. I think this one I made, oh yeah, this one I made soon after we got the kittens. So I have got my son's initials, 2 little hearts and 4 paws, each representing the 2 kittens, Bobbin and Teddy. I just love that you can personalise them in that way. So yeah, this one, it's just got a little silver ball on there, and that is made with the offcut from this piece that I cut off to make this the right size. And it's the most fascinating process to watch, because I just put the piece of silver, this straight, like that little square of silver, on this brick, heated it with the heat gun, blowtorch, and it melts the silver down, and then all of a sudden the silver just pops into this perfect little circle. So fun. And there will never be another ring that looks exactly like, well, any of these, because they've got my little stamped bits on them, but there will never be another ring that looks exactly like this, because you cannot possibly replicate that little freeform silver bobble. So yeah, it was really fun. So I have had that sort of going on in the background. Oh, I also made these. Oh, and I made a cuff as well, actually. I made these bangles, which are in dire need of a clean. I need to get a silver cloth. So these were lovely. So, oh, they need a clean. They've just been sat on my bedside table, so they've got a bit tarnished. But these are so sweet because they've got... I stamped my son's initial, my husband's initial and my initial on the heart on this, and it's got these little beads. It's like showing stitch markers, completely impossible. These little rose quartz gems on there too. Yeah, and I've got a lovely bangle, maybe I'll show you next time. It's like a cuff because it doesn't go all the way around. Did I set a stone in it? I can't even remember. I've sort of done, I think, 5 or 6 classes over the last 5 or 6 months, however long it's been. So yeah, that's been lovely. It's been so nice learning something new, so nice going and doing a class where I couldn't possibly do anything else in that time. I don't know if you're the same, but when I'm at home, there are so many jobs to do, aren't there? Sometimes, especially if you're not quite in the zone with it, sometimes it can be quite hard to sort of sit and lose yourself in your making when you know that there are dishes in the other room, or the one you're in could do with a bit of a hoover and all of that stuff. Maybe I need to put a load of laundry on. All of that stuff is sort of whirring around in your mind, whereas if you go to a class, you have that time where you are just dedicating to making. And it's wonderful. Wonderful being able to just immerse yourself in creating like that. And it was really nice trying new tools and experimenting with different techniques, and yeah, trying something new was absolutely fantastic. So I'm actually doing another class on Thursday, and I've got a couple of ideas about what I want to do. It's a spinner or stacking ring making workshop. So because I've done a few, Fiona is so kind and lets me sort of veer off a little bit and experiment with what I would like to try, which is really nice. And so I've had a couple of ideas about what I think I'd like to do. I think I'd like to have another go with these little Swarovski crystals and maybe combine those and a spinner ring. And I'd quite like to do something with moonstone. And I was thinking it might be quite interesting to set a stone on a wider band rather than on this thinner one. So maybe something that sort of width, or that sort of width. I do like chunky rings. It's so funny because before I went on the workshops, I didn't really wear jewellery. I'd probably wear my wedding ring and engagement ring, but sometimes I wouldn't even wear them, because especially when my son was younger, because you're always washing your hands or doing something, I didn't want to lose them and stuff. But now he's a bit older, demands a different, so yeah, I wear them more. And now with making these, I'm so proud of what I made. I just love wearing them. It's like when we've knitted a new jumper, isn't it? You just want to wear it because you're so proud that you made it. So yeah, I thought I'd share those with you as well, because that has been something creative that I have been doing in the background. To show you, and I wonder what order would be the best. I was thinking of giving you a little sneak peek of one of my new patterns, because I can barely believe it, but honestly I don't feel I can adequately describe how lost I felt without having any sort of creative urges. It felt like that part of my brain had just been, or yarn related creative urges, it felt like that part of my brain had just been switched off. So it had been a long time since I designed a pattern, and then I had this other one in the background that I started but I just wasn't working on because don't know, that part of my brain had been switched off, and I genuinely thought that I would never come up with another pattern again. But then with starting that crochet and just sort of giving myself the space to allow it to do what it needed to do, I've thought of another pattern, and it is really whimsical and I think it's going to be fun, but it's sort of Halloween-y, and now I would really like to get it out before Halloween. So I'm trying to work out if there's any way that I can get it out before Halloween, or if that's just completely unrealistic. I do quite like a deadline. I find them stressful and motivating in sort of equal measure. But yeah, it's in this bag, and it's very, very whimsical. So I hope that it will be something that you like and that I can get it out soon, because I think it'll be really fun. Now I have all sorts of needles. It sort of has similarities with my primrose pudding socks. I don't know if you remember those or are familiar with those, but yeah, super, super whimsical. But these are another pair that I've been working on, and this is a new pattern, and this has been in the works for probably about 8 months. I designed this pattern, I know the name, I have my inspiration obviously, because I tend to work inspiration then pattern rather than come up with the pattern and work the inspiration around it, if that makes sense. So I had the inspiration, which was this picture of me when I was little in a jumper. There's my mum. In a jumper that my mum had made for me. She thinks I was about 2 in this picture, and those chubby cheeks, just like my son when he was that age. So he was the chubbiest. He was just a little ball of a baby, just gorgeous. So I loved that photo, and I wanted to make some socks sort of based on that jumper, and so this is what I came up with. It's just down the front of the sock, and they're going to be called, I'm not going to say what they're going to be called actually, I'll share that when the pattern's out. But yeah, they are the sort of pattern that I always try and write, which is, looks more impressive, looks like it's more difficult than it is, because it's nice and simple, and sort of things line up. So when you have to do a certain thing, you have to do something else, and so it sort of flows well. I hope you think so too, if you choose to knit them. But yeah, it's a nice sort of simple classic pattern. It's so funny because I put them away and I thought, oh, I don't know, 8 months ago, and I thought, oh, I don't know, maybe they won't work. And sometimes I wonder if you find this too, I just need a bit of space from the thing, because I've got them out sort of more recently, a couple of weeks ago, and I thought actually they're really lovely. They're going to be really nice when they're finished, and I think people will enjoy knitting them. I hope you do if you choose to. But I think sometimes you do just need that space. I am very, very critical of everything that I do, literally everything. And so I do find that more often than not, having that space is very necessary. So yes, they're in progress. I will show you them some more when hopefully they are finished, because hopefully that won't be too long. But the Halloween-y ones, I found what I think will be the perfect yarn for them. So they're going to have 3 colours, and I don't have one of the colours because I went to the Southern Wool Show at the weekend and saw Lay Family Yarn there, and I knew that they'd have great colours. They have this sort of little spinny thing with loads of different colour minis on. These are 10-gram ones. I got 2 just in case, because I'm not quite sure how much I'm going to need for this. And they had another colour which is like a purpley, it's like a dusky purple. I'm thinking like vintage Halloween-y vibes, sort of whimsical, vintage, bit washed out, Halloween-y. So yeah, they didn't have a full skein of the purple, so they're going to dye that up for me and it will go with these. I'm really excited to get started. I am going to get started hopefully today or tomorrow, so that I can work out how much the cuff needs and yeah, see it come together, see it come to life, which is the most exciting part, because the point that I'm at took a lot of swatching. So now that I think that I've got it sorted, I'm really excited to do the final little sample pair. So yeah, really excited about those. Oh, let's put this needle away. As with the Primrose Pudding socks, they require a couple of different sizes of needles because you're doing some interesting things, so I'm excited about them. Now, as I just said, I went to the Southern Wool Show yesterday with Mum and Auntie Jack, and it was so lovely. It is my favourite wool show that I've been to in the sort of recent past, and I don't know if that's just partly really good timing, because I feel like I'm coming out of a bit of a fog where creativity was just tricky, not coming easily to me as it has before. It could be partly that, but also it was just a really good, it was a good venue because there was lots of space. I see my battery's going to run out, so I'm going to change my battery and then come back and tell you about it. So yeah, we had a lovely time at the show, and I only brought a little bit of yarn home. There were the minis, which are sort of going to be that new pattern, which I'm excited about, and then the full skein, which they're going to post to me, which I'm really excited about because I feel like that will, yeah, I'll get to see my vision as a thing, which is always a really exciting moment. I also got this. I do find that when I go to a show, I'm so drawn to things that aren't, not just completely out of my comfort zone. I think it's just because it's fun. I think the sort of atmosphere and the fact that it's just so, it's so fun going to a yarn show, that I just sort of have that sort of mentality, and I just, generally I like quite sort of muted colours, but when I'm at a show I'm so drawn to bright, very out of my comfort zone sort of yarns. And this is case in point. This is from James Makes Yarn, and oh, James's stand was just so, it was like a little happiness cocoon. It was just so wonderful. I love his yarns. They're so bright and they're so cheerful, and they are just pure happiness. I loved it. And it's not just the yarn, the names that he uses for his colourways are just so wonderful and so evocative of just joy and fun. So this one is Party Bag, and isn't that just the happiest I love it. I love the fluorescence and I love the pinks. I love the speckles. It's just so much fun, and I'm so excited to just knit up a pair of socks for me, and just love the process of playing with this just incredibly happy skein. He had other ones there. It was quite hard to choose because there were so many lovely ones. Another one was Sugared Almonds, which was so pretty. Another one, I think it was called Spring Chickens. Just cute name, cute, pretty, fun yarn. It was honestly just such a gorgeous stand. Oh, it was lovely. So yeah, very excited about this. This is a superwash merino nylon sock yarn, and yeah, it's definitely going to be some very happy socks for me. Probably just plain ones, but yeah. Or should it be a hat, like held together with mohair? I don't know. I think socks, because I think I want it to be really, really bright and cheerful. To fit that section. I love in these sorts of yarns with all the different colours how you can just look at different sections and just find such beauty, like the blues and the pinks here with just little bits of yellows there and just a flash of green. Like, it's just art, isn't it? Love it. So I'm thrilled with that. And then I was having a look around, and I didn't expect to be taken over in the way that I was. I went onto a stand. I sort of noticed the fibre. I haven't spun for about 8 years, I think. I think it's about 8 years. I noticed the fibre, but I haven't spun in so long. I didn't really think that I would feel particularly drawn to it. Then I went onto this stand. It's called No Moths Allowed. Just saw these little bundles. She had some little rolags, and I could feel something happening inside me. Something was brewing, and I just was getting that urge that I had to do some spinning. And I walked round a couple of times to see if the feeling would fade, because my spinning wheel's in the loft. I haven't got anywhere to put it right now because life has changed and my house is just full of pets and toys, and I'm just at a different phase of life than I was when I had my spinning wheel out and was able to do that a lot. And so I was thinking, oh, I just haven't got anywhere to put it. And then I thought, oh, maybe I could get a drop spindle down, but I don't know if I'm in the mood for that much physical activity with my spinning, because drop spindling is fun, but I don't have the stamina to do it a lot, to do it enough. I like it for sampling, like for stuff like this it is perfect, but I don't really want to do a whole project on a drop spindle, because that's just not what I really enjoy. So I was thinking, no, I can't get my spinning wheel down. I don't feel like doing any drop spindling. I'm just gonna have a wander, see if this subsides. And I happened to wander over to the threshing barn, and the threshing barn sells spinning wheels. I think it was at Unravel last year, or maybe in February, I can't quite remember. I can't remember if it was February or last year, in February, but I saw they had this electric spinning wheel, and I've always wanted an electric spinning wheel. I remember my friend and spinning, one of my earliest spinning mentors, Tracy, she had an electric spinning wheel. It was a big Ashford wooden one, and I coveted it. It just looked so much fun. I love the treadling, but it's just a different way of doing it, which I also found really appealing. And they had this spinning wheel that I might as well just show you. I had one of these. It's an electric eel. It's made by Dreaming Robots, I think is their name. I have the book here. Yeah, Dreaming Robots, electric eel, 6.1. No, I didn't try it. I had a look at it when I was on Ravelry that time, and I happened to go from here. I didn't buy those, I hadn't bought those. I was trying to let the feeling subside. I went over to Threshing Barn and they had some of these out for you to try. There's this one, and then there's this smaller one, which is just absurdly cute, adorable, would be perfect for doing little bits like this. But this one is more like full size. It's got good size bobbins and everything. So yeah, I had a go and I just loved it. And then I carried on round, sort of still thinking, no, this feeling will subside, it's fine. It's been 8 years, I haven't done any spinning for so long. It's just not what I'm into right now. But I could just feel it bubbling. So I kept going round, and then I went back, because you know how at a yarn show you do laps, don't you? So I'd done laps and we went back there, and Mum said that she would get it for me for my Christmas and birthday present. And I was just like absolutely over the moon. My mum is the best mum, you know that, you've met her. She's just so wonderful and so kind. And so I'm now the proud owner of this little incredible contraption, and I couldn't be happier about it. So I think I'd actually got these first because I thought, no, I have to do some spinning. This isn't going to go, so I'll have to get my wheel out at the loft. And then Mum said that she would get me this because it's so not in my current abilities to get to afford one of these right now. It's not. So I didn't think that it was going to be a possibility, but yeah, my mum is amazing. So I got it, and it is just, it's so fantastic. So you plug it in, or you can get a battery as well, so you don't have to have the cord. You also have another cord which has like a foot pedal so that you can turn it on and off. It doesn't do speed or anything, you do the speed by this little knob here. But it's really handy for turning it off and on with your foot so that you don't have to take your hands off the fibre that you're spinning. And then you've got a switch here that does S or Z direction. Yeah, you've got your speeds here all the way up to 6. I had it at 3. That seemed to be working for me for the particular type of yarn that I was making. Look, you've got this little orifice hook that just sticks on the side of the magnet. They're such thoughtfully designed objects, which I really appreciate. And you've got your hooks here, and these bobbins are a lovely size. They're really capacious. So yes, this was a very unexpected purchase from the show, and I just completely love it. So after I got that, I wanted to get some fibre. I know I have some fibre, but you know, like I was saying before, sometimes when you're getting back into something, or you just sometimes need something new and fresh that you can get enthusiastic about. So I had these, and I thought, oh, they'd be lovely to play with. This one's called Crisp Leaves, I think. It's a BFL Viscose Merino and Baby Alpaca blend. That'll be lots of fun. And this one, I don't think has a name. Oh, Coral Pop, maybe. It's a Merino Bamboo Stellina and Sari Silk blend. So they're going to be so much fun. But I also wanted a couple of braids. And I went on to Witchcrafty Lady. She had a spinny stand with just the most beautiful colours on there, and some, like, since I spun last, it seems like some different breeds are more easily accessible here, which is exciting. Oh no, I don't have my label for what this is. So I got this braid. I can't remember what it is. I think it might be a Corridel Merino Falkland blend. I'm not entirely sure, but it's got a bit of a sort of a bit more toothiness. I was completely seduced by this. How pretty is this? It's so lovely, isn't it? I love these colours. But this is a 18 micron superfine merino, so it's really soft. And probably will be a little bit slippery on the wheel. It's so weird. I've spun a lot in the past. At uni I did, like, my final project was pretty much an exploration hand spun yarn, and I did all sorts of different types, and art yarns, like regular, all different types of drafting techniques, and like bobbles, slubs, inclusions, all sorts of different things. But when was I at uni? Was it like 20 years ago? Something like that. And then I haven't spun at all for at least 8 years. It feels like I'm a beginner again. So it feels like I have some knowledge, but it's been filed away into the deepest recesses that I don't really know. I almost just don't know how to spin. It's a weird feeling, because I know I do, and I've got that muscle memory, and I've done it so much that I know I must know. But I feel like a beginner again, which is really, really fun. And yeah, so I thought that this might be a little bit slippery for a first try after so long. So yeah, got this one because it's got a bit more of a grab, a bit more toothiness to it. They're just such beautiful colours, aren't they? And Witchcrafty Lady also gave me, I was talking to her about how it's been so long, she also gave me this plain, I think this is Falkland, to practice on, which I just thought was incredibly thoughtful, incredibly kind. So yeah, let me show you what I've been spinning. So these are the bobbins. Oh, I've also got this, which is the Lazy Kate, made by the same company, which is intriguing. In the past, I think I used to ply off of my wheel. I've got a Woolmaker Bliss wheel, which has got, I think it's got them off the side, like that. I think I used to ply off that. Honestly, it's been so long I just can't remember. So this will be interesting, because previously to that I had a shoebox that I had put knitting needles through and a rock at the bottom to hold it, stop it from moving, so they would be like that orientation. So it would be interesting plying off something flat on the ground like this. Yeah, I'm intrigued. It also comes with some elastic that you can use as a sort of brake band, so that they don't pre-spin too much, but I can't figure out how that works yet, so I'll need to have a go. They also have on the bobbins, they're really helpful, they have like a line on it which is to show when you've half filled the bobbin, so you can go up to that point and on 2 bobbins and then ply those together, and you'll get a reasonably stuffed full bobbin. So I thought that was a really clever idea. So yes, they're held together by magnets, so it will be more secure on the floor, and it's got some weight to it as well, but you can actually open them and put weights inside, which is really clever. I just love it, it's so thoughtfully made. So last night I came home and I had a practice on the white, I think it's Falkland, or maybe a Falkland Merino blend, I can't quite remember, and it was really nice to have that, actually, to sort of have a no pressure sort of start. Because I think I got the hang, I got the hang of it again as I was going, and it was nice not to be breaking into one of these really pretty ones as the first go. So yeah, that was the Falkland, and it's a lovely fibre actually. It's just so light and fluffy, really beautiful. And then I went on to this one. So I pulled it in half so that I could put half on one bobbin and half on the other. And yeah, it's spun up really lovely. Let me come and show you. So it's quite fine, which isn't exactly what I would like, but I think I need to practice a bit more before I can actually control what it's going to look like. I think that fibre and how I prepared it ready to spin, it was going to be thin no matter what, because I pulled it apart, so found where it was naturally going to come apart. Okay. I think it'll be about there, yeah. And then I sort of unrolled it almost and pulled it apart where it's split. So I got these sort of finer pieces, and then yeah, spun it from that. So it was going to be thin. I would really like, and I remember I wanted to do this before, I would like to make a nice plump sort of yarn. It's not my natural sort of, I think I naturally go quite thin. I'd like to do sort of quite plump and airy, so I'll probably need to do a different sort of preparation, maybe like use a bat or spin off the fold or something like that to achieve that sort of thing. But this is going to be beautiful, and I'm already thinking that I think that this would be a lovely hat, maybe with mohair. Yeah, I'm so excited just to get the rest of this on a bobbin so that I can apply it and knit with it. Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. So I'll do some more of that this afternoon, I hope. But it's such a fantastic little wheel. I'm so thrilled with it. I'm just so thrilled with it and so excited, and just so relieved that my creative urges have well and truly come back, and then some, really. So I can't wait to get back on this again. And it's so compact. Like, if you didn't want, you can get a battery for it. So if you didn't want to plug it in, you just had the battery. You maybe didn't have the foot pedal, you just turn it off and on with the switch here, or down with the speed knob. This is literally all you would need to take with you anywhere. Like, I'm going to knitting group at Mum's tonight. So tempted to take this, because you don't need anything else, just a bit of fibre and then you're ready. I haven't got a battery for it yet, but I think I will get one. But yeah, absolutely thrilled with it. It comes with 6 bobbins as well, which is just amazing. So that is what I got from the show. I'm really excited to get this on the wheel. I think this is going to be so pretty. I can't visualise currently, I can't sort of how this will end up, and it will depend on how I sort of how I process it for the spinning, as it were. But yeah, I'm quite tempted to sort of see if I can break it in half but keep the pink maybe on one ply and then keep the greens and oranges on the other ply, so that you always see this bit of pink and the pink doesn't get sort of mixed in too much with the green. I'd like the pink to really stand out still, so I think I might try and sort of break it in half mindfully, keeping an eye on that. But it's just so beautiful and it's so soft. I'm so excited to have a go again with that. So yeah, it's really, really nice to feel like I'm coming back to making again after what feels like a really long time. So thank you for being a part of that. If I hadn't have started making this video because I've missed speaking to you all and showing you what I've been up to, then I don't know that I would be this enthusiastic right now. So I just feel so thrilled that I'm making again. I'm so excited. So I am going to go and get on with some spinning, I think. I'm going to put this video up and hopefully you'll enjoy it, and I'm going to work on that pattern, well, those two patterns, and hopefully you will enjoy those too. And I've got, like I said before, I've got my jewellery class on Thursday, and I was thinking of maybe taking a bit of video of that, some of the different processes that we do. So hopefully I'll be able to show you that, as long as my teacher's okay with that, of course. So hopefully I'll be able to show you that. If not, I'll certainly be able to show you what I've made. Yeah, I'm very excited to have another go at that. But yeah, I would love to hear what you've been making, and I'd love to know how you tend to tackle a sort of creative block, because I think it's really good to have a sort of arsenal of things that you can bring out if that does occur, because I think it does happen to all of us sometimes, doesn't it? Because life does its thing and we're not always in the like headspace to be making. So yeah, I'd love to know how you bring yourself back to making and what you've been making, and the last thing you've been really excited to make, or thing you've been excited to try. I'd love to hear about that if you'd like to share that with me. But for now, I'm going to go and do those exciting things and hope to see you very soon, maybe with a little spinning update and jewellery class update and pattern update. Anyway, it's been so lovely chatting to you, and I hope to see you very, very soon. Bye.